Hey up. Been looking forward to this week's film. Big fan of Giallo, and this one does not disappoint. The Case of the Bloody Iris. I love how northern it can sound. Otherwise known by the slightly more ridiculous title, Why Those Strange Drops of Blood on Jennifer's Body, is a 1972 Italian Giallo film. For those who don't know, Giallo is basically the name given to a usually violent or sleazy whodunit film. And this one's directed by Giuliano Carnimeo, probably butchered that, going under Anthony Ascott in this film. You may recognise Carnimeo. He directed the Santana series of spaghetti westerns, which Arrow have put out on Blu-ray. Or you might recognise him for directing Ratman. And I really need to check out Ratman, because he's the critter from the shitter. The plot follows Jennifer, a stripper-turned-model who's moved out into a new apartment building to escape from her orgy-obsessed ex-husband. Unfortunately for Jennifer though, the apartment building's the stomping ground to a masked serial killer, and it's only a matter of time before she's the next victim. But luckily, the cops and the landlord are on the case. It's a typical plot for this sort of film, but it's executed extremely well. It keeps the pace up, there are rarely any boring parts, and there's a lot of fun characters to latch onto. I won't ruin the ending for you here though, kinda defeats the purpose.
Well, you won't have her, you bastard, because she's mine! Mine!
Are you crazy?
No one's gonna have her except me. Jennifer belongs to me, soul and body. She's mine, and I'll kill anyone who comes near her! Stay away from her!
Come on, have a drink. There's cognac, gin, there's garters, brassieres.
The acting and dubbing are actually pretty decent this time. It's a little melodramatic in parts, but it's probably the best I've seen in a while really. And some of the funny lines actually seemed intentional for a change. The gore is restrained, yet really well executed, and the sets and cinematography are fantastic. There's some really nice use of shots and lighting, and also the music's pretty good. All around just a pretty decently well made film.
They need an apartment, don't they? As long as there isn't blood all over the place. Most people wouldn't do it.
An aspect that kinda lets this film down is some of the values that it holds. It's very old-fashioned. There's some racist comments in there, and there's some quite homophobic themes throughout as well, which might put some people off. Oh yeah, and there's a ton of nudity as well, but I mean, it's kind of expected for the genre. It's a shame as well though, because a lot of the cool death scenes have got nudity in them, so I can't actually show them here. But, oh well, you just have to check it out for yourself, won't you?
Look, Commissioner, I'm not interested in your sex fantasies.
Go back and play stamp collector, why don't you? And you call yourself a policeman. From what I see, you couldn't find a pig in a poke.
Once again, the print is pretty decent. I've been quite impressed with some of these recent releases that we've been looking at. They've really upped the game in the print department. It was a little mucky for about 5 to 10 minutes, but it cleared up. And there was one little weird thing that I did notice with the sound. There was one shot about halfway through where whenever it was that shot, the audio was only coming out of the right speaker. But outside of that, it was clean, very watchable, nice colours really popped, and a decent example of a Vipco release. And on the disc, you probably guessed, nothing new. Let's have a look at this case then. It's pretty good, all the info's correct. It might give away a little too much information though, but it does give it a really nice write-up. This line here seems a little bit mean. She's more flirty than anything. I wouldn't go all the way and call her lecherous, it just seems cruel. And this bit here didn't age well in an era of far too many Hollywood remakes. Honestly, this film's fine the way it is. Overall then, I would definitely say that this is one of the best films in the collection so far. It was entertaining, well made, and a lot of fun. If you're already a fan of Giallo films, then this is a must watch if you haven't seen it yet. If you're new to the genre and you're interested in what you've seen, then this is just as good of a starting off point as any of them really. So I definitely recommend this, just be aware it's a little old fashioned. If you're looking for an upgrade on this, then you're in luck because Shameless have got you covered with a Blu-ray. I'd say that's probably worth grabbing. But if you saw this for cheap out and about, you could do a hell of a lot worse. So, excellent film this week, very impressed. And that's only going to go downhill from here, because next week we are checking out, I've been waiting for this one, Flesh-Eating Mothers. Meet the ladies who lunch.